JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, he would flee. Cop in Donnelly Donaldson's case denied bail. A court has rejected Constable Noel Maitland's application for bail, saying he would flee Jamaica to avoid being prosecuted for the murder of his girlfriend, Donnelly Donaldson. In rejecting the application, Supreme Court Judge Justice Vinette Graham Allen said if the cop was granted bail, there was a likelihood he would abscond bail, interfere with witnesses, obstruct the investigation, or reoffend. The judge said there are no conditions that can adequately militate against those actions. Maitland, who has been in custody since July 27, is charged with murder and preventing the lawful burial of a corpse. The woman's body has not been found. Maitland is to return to the Home Circuit Court for a plea and case management hearing on February 9, 2023. The 24-year-old social media influencer was reported missing on July 13, 2 days after she was last seen at Maitland's Chelsea Manor apartment in St. Andrew. Would-be robber shot and injured in St. Anne. An unidentified man was shot and injured by a licensed farm holder following an attempted robbery along the Oak Race bypass in St. Anne this morning. Reports are that about 6:20 a.m., the victim was walking towards Oak Race when the unidentified man, who was also traveling on foot, approached him with a weapon and proceeded to demand items. During the robbery, the victim managed to pull his gun and fired a single shot, hitting the robber. The injured man is now reportedly in the hospital under police guard. Biker shot dead, pillion injured in Westmoreland gun attack. A bike taxi operator is dead, and the pillion now nursing gunshot wounds after they were attacked by a lone gunman who opened fire at them along the Linton Penn Main Road in Grangeville, Westmoreland on Wednesday evening. The deceased has been identified as 30-year-old Kirk Wilson, otherwise called Scrappy, of Peggy Barry, Grangeville in the parish. Reports from the Savamore police are that about 6:50 p.m., Wilson was driving his motorcycle with a pillion passenger aboard when they were pounced upon by a gunman who opened gunfire. The police were summoned and both men were transported to the Savamore Public General Hospital, where Wilson was pronounced dead. The other man was admitted. Investigations are ongoing. Man linked to robberies in St. Elizabeth captured. The police are reporting that a man linked to robberies in St. Elizabeth has been taken into custody. They say he was apprehended on Tuesday during an operation in New Building District in the parish. The police will be questioned with a view to laying charges. The police say the operation was a joint initiative between cops in the St. Elizabeth and Manchester divisions, which was aimed at searching for wanted persons. Residents of St. Elizabeth are being urged by the police to be vigilant and bring to their attention suspicious persons and activities. Persons can make reports to the Black River Police at 876-965-2232, 876-965-2026, Police 119 emergency number, or Crime Stop at 311. Motorcyclist succumbs in hospital following crash in Hanover. A motorcyclist who was injured in a crash along the Roundhill Main Road in Hanover on Wednesday afternoon has succumbed in hospital. He has been identified as 27-year-old Walter Coke, who was of a Johnsontown address in Lucy in the parish. It is reported that about 1:30 p.m., Coke was riding his motorcycle from the direction of Montego Bay towards Hopewell. On reaching a section of the Roundhill Main Road known as Point Hill, Coke reportedly failed to keep to his left and collided with a Nissan Latia motor car which was heading in the opposite direction. Coke sustained severe injuries and was rushed to the Conroe Regional Hospital where he was admitted. He later died. Traffic investigators attached to the Area 1 Accident Reconstruction Unit are probing the crash. Man pleads guilty to setting woman on fire in 2021. Emron Pilliner, the man was brought before the court for reportedly dousing his girlfriend Nicola Clark with a flammable substance before setting her ablaze in May 2021, pleaded guilty when he appeared inside the St. James Circuit Court on Wednesday. Pilliner was charged with 2 counts of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. His sentencing is set for December 6. Reports are that Pilliner and Clark had an altercation at a business establishment when he, in a rage, reportedly left and returned with the flammable substance, which he allegedly used to commit the grievous assault on Clark. Clark, who was engulfed by flames, managed to escape from the burning building with the assistance of residents who took her to the hospital. She later succumbed to her injuries at the JMS Burn Center at the Doctors Hospital of Augusta in Atlanta, Georgia, where she was being treated. A bar and a car wash, reportedly operated by Clark, was also set on fire. Pilliner, who goes by the aliases Robert Pilliner and Tyrant, was arrested by the police after he reportedly showed up at the Savannah Hospital in Westmoreland for treatment to burn injuries he had received. Warmington bashes NHD official over Colbeck Castle housing development. A dispute between Member of Parliament for St. Catharines Southwestern Everald Warmington and a National Housing Trust NHD official reached a boiling point yesterday, with the parliamentarian and government minister threatening to put a stop to the Colbeck Castle housing development in the parish. Warmington, speaking at the handing over ceremony for 32-bedroom detached housing units at the Roseneath housing development in his constituency, deviated from his prepared speech to call out the NHD head of construction Donald Moore for what he claimed was disrespect shown to him and his constituents over the issue of the location of the entrance to the Colbeck development, which is currently being undertaken by the NHD.
Mr. Prime Minister, you'll forgive me and I ask your understanding. I'm here this morning because the Prime Minister is present. And if I wasn't here, it would appear as if it's disrespect to him. But I'm not here for the Housing Trust because they show little or no regard for me and this constituency. And that is reciprocated by me. The disrespect, the arrogance that is displayed or extended to me and this constituency by the person who runs the Housing Trust, Donald Moore, or the person who appears to own it. The disdain that he has, the utter disdain for elected representative. I cannot continue with this presentation but to come off script. Refuse to speak to me and the constituency about Colbeck Castle. I want to make it clear, and Prime Minister, again, forgive me and understand the hurt that I feel. For representative, the only person in this country that garners more than 11,000 votes in the last election during pandemic with a 5,000 majority. The Housing Trust showed that disregard and disrespect to me and this constituency. And let me make it quite clear. The Housing Trust will not have an entrance to Colbeck Castle through the Bodles Agricultural Station. You will not enter through the Banana Research Station. You will not enter through Northern Colbeck Castle to allow the student going to that school to be raped and attacked by people in those dark corners. You will use the original entrance. You will have to rebuild that bridge to take you into the development. You will have to commit to the section of the land that was given to, left there by BRC developers before you guys got there.
Stop hiding criminals, MP tells constituents. Member of Parliament MP for St. James Southern, Omar Davis, is calling for his constituents to join the fight against crime in violence-plagued St. James by giving up the criminals known to them. There are some simple things that you can do to help the process of crime fighting. Tell what you know to the police or to someone who you trust. If you have been shielding or know someone who has been shielding criminals, shove them out. Stop washing the bloody clothes. Stop locking away the guns on their behalf. Stop protecting these criminals, because soon and very soon they'll turn on you, he warned. Davis, who was making his contribution to the state of the constituency debate in the House of Representatives on Wednesday, lamented that St. James Southern, which was once a quiet constituency, has seen several shootings and murders within the last 8 or so months, which have robbed families of their main breadwinners. Since the start of this year up to September 26. Since the start of this year up to the 26th of September, there were 26 murders committed in the constituency. In 2021, the constituency saw 18 murders, so we can see the trajectory that the crime is having, he said. These wanton shootings and murders cannot be allowed to continue, and it is my view that enough is enough, he said. As Member of Parliament, I am prepared to do everything within the law and within my powers to help the security forces to weed out the criminals from St. James Southern, he declared. Davis further posited that unless we have all hands on deck, reading for the same page online and the same book will continue to be dodged by crime and violence. In the meantime, Davis suggested that the government moves swiftly to assign social workers to police stations. He believes this arrangement will help to prevent domestic situations escalating into murders. I have seen where small domestic disputes end up in 3 to 6 murders. I am not sure that the police have the technical competence and know-how to moderate and get these fractions together so that peace can prevail, he said. Davis argued that social workers can and will win the trust of the citizens, especially the youth. Therefore, his suggestion should be taken into serious consideration. Social workers are trained to reach youth before they fall into the wrong group of hands. Social workers are not in the business of seeking votes or being popular, and in the case of an MP, and if truth be told, some of us have not been able to gain the trust and confidence of persons, he said. Meanwhile, Davis also welcomed the new Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Act 2022, which has been passed in both houses of Parliament. This piece of legislation will go a far way in curbing gun crimes, and I also want to thank the opposition for the support given. I want to urge Jamaicans with illegal guns to take advantage of the impending gun amnesty once it is announced, he said. 15 years behind bars is not a joke. 15 years behind bars is not a bed of rose, he said in reference to the bill's provision that an individual convicted of simple possession of a firearm will face a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years. Informal settlers in central Kingston to become legal landowners. Informal settlers on lands in Parade Gardens, Rose Gardens and Raytown in central Kingston are to get an opportunity to become regularized. Member of Parliament for Kingston Central Donovan Williams made the announcement during his contribution to the State of the Constituency debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He said that through the National Land Agency NLA, an Adjudication Services Committee has been set up for Central Kingston and is poised to begin hearing applications for titles. The MP said land tenure poses a problem in Central Kingston and impedes the improvement of housing infrastructure in the constituency. Many persons live on these properties, some of them for decades without titles, but there's a proper and legal way to do things, he said. Williams noted that the mandate of the Adjudication Services Committee is to assist landowners who have been in open, undisturbed, undisputed possession of their parcels of land for 12 years or more so they can claim ownership of such land via the systematic registration of land used in the adjudication process. This is welcome news to the targeted communities. It means we'll now be able to help more persons under the new social housing program, which requires land tenants a condition precedent for approval, he said. We have already submitted applications and are assisting many others in putting together their relevant documentation for submission, he added. In his maiden presentation last year in the State of the Constituency debate, Williams had reported that Tel Aviv, Southside and Rose Gardens were selected to be a part of a land administration management program under the Cadastral Mapping and Tenure Clarification Special Provisions Act, which would facilitate the issuing of new titles and the upgrading of existing certificates of title. Meanwhile, in a release Wednesday, the NLA announced that it has distributed a total of 6,256 certificates of title under its systematic land registration program since the agency launched its distribution activities in February 2022. It said the program commenced adjudicating rights in January 2021 and has completed works in parts of St. Elizabeth, St. Catherine and Manchester. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.